are back for another episode of the ABJ Podcast. Episode seven. We're up to 7, closing in on you can't hold on. Can everyone hear me? We're good? Double check this real quick just to make sure. All right, yeah. It got me scared backstage a little bit there. But anyway, if let's make sure we get the follows going on all social media for not only myself but my guests. My guest links are below, as well as the audio side of things. So if you are watching on YouTube, you want to check this out in your car and catch up on past episodes, you can find us on all major podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple, Google, the whole nine. Also, if this is your first time watching on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe and like button. It helps out a very long way. I've been watching over 96 or 86% of the people who watch this channel are not subscribed. So make sure you hit the subscribe. It costs you nothing, and it helps me out so much to help this channel growing. We just surpassed 300 subscribers, and we're on the quest now for 500. Can we do it by the end of the year? I don't know, but we can try. So make sure you share this out to your friends and tell them to subscribe to the channel and support ABJ. Without further ado, let me bring in my guest for episode number 7. The one, the only, ABBS. You can't hear anything? Your mic is gone. I have no idea what happened. Maybe back out and come back in. Oh no. ABBS messed it all up. We're going to say it was all working right until this. Hold on. Let's try this real quick. I can't even do my private chat. What is happening here? Hold on. Maybe he's going to reset. While we're getting that going, everyone in the chat, Mick Thompson here hanging out with us, Scott in the chat hanging out, some other people. Yeah. Can you hear us? Oh my goodness. That's right. Leave. Hold on. I'll text him. Check your phone. All right. He's going to leave and come back. Maybe that'll fix it. That's the beauty of doing it live, baby. But yeah, so really excited to have ABBS on. We're going to learn about, his training, his character, everything we got going on. We're going to talk about how the Contest of Champions went, because he had a really cool moment there over the weekend. Tons of cool stuff. Also, we can announce as well, next week is going to be V Marino is going to be on the podcast next Tuesday. So excited to have V Marino on, which will be episode 8.
Okay,
Try
I'm
now.
back. I'm
now
back.
We can hear him.
Yeah.
I have no idea what happened. So what's going on, ABBS?
I'm doing good. Let's forget that all happened. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah. So, ABBS, man. So there they are in living color on the podcast. Look at those beautiful, beautiful rock hard steel abs.
That's all they're gonna get.
It's all you get right now, people. Let's dive into this, buddy. Let's ask the basic podcast question here. How did you get into professional wrestling?
I answer this on almost all the podcasts I've been on. It was a late bloomer. I started watching it in my freshman year of college, so really late in life, real late bloomer to this whole thing. But and it happened to be a Monday Night Raw episode. I was in my friend's room in college in his dorm. He had Raw on, watched it, and then hooked ever since.
Yeah. What was the first character you seen?
I think it may obviously you hear of John Cena, you hear of Undertaker, you hear of all that good stuff. The first one I actually tuned in and gravitated towards was Sheamus.
Sheamus. I love that.
It was during the time where he was like just debuting on Raw, and like he was going on that huge push towards the title. So, and that's sort of where it locked me in.
Perfect. Now you're from the upstate New York area, correct?
No, I'm from the city.
The city? Oh, you're from the city. Okay, yeah. I thought you were from More upstate. All right. So what borough?
Manhattan.
All right, from Manhattan. So now you're in college. You're doing the theater background, correct? Like you're doing a little bit of
Well,
theater.
I studied. I mean, the theater stuff also kind of came after college too. Honestly, I liked theater. I liked acting. And I'm not like classically or formally trained or anything, but I did a few school plays and all that stuff. It was after college I got into improv. But I didn't go to college for any type of acting or type of stuff like that.
Yeah, it was more like just hobby stuff.
Yeah, more hobby stuff.
Awesome.
But
Now,
that's what I gravitate towards in wrestling, the theatrical aspect of it.
absolutely, like, and it's not like I don't think it's a knock on your wrestling to say that, but I think what makes you stand out is the character.
Right.
Your
I am not a
character is
star
what shines.
athlete by any means. I am
Yeah.
not a stud athlete, so that's what I have to lean back on.
Yeah, I think you're very self-aware of who and what you are. And I think your personality and who you are as a person is what you're gonna make how people are gonna fall in love with you as a performer.
Exactly. But
Yes.
I've had surprise spurts of athleticism, but I'm not a full-blown athlete.
Yeah. So when you're doing this is like, you found that wrestling bug, you kind of found that acting bug. Now you're kind of putting it together and you're looking for a possible, like, how did the idea for you, like, I want to do this now and train? How did that process all come into fruition?
I think once I started really getting into it and watching it, I knew immediately I wanted to do it because it looked like just fun, and I've always done that type of stuff growing up. Fighting with your choreographing action scenes with your friend and all that stuff. So I've always done that type of stuff, but it didn't really accumulate until after college. But fun fact, I for a school trip, I went to college in New England, in Connecticut. So me and a bunch of other wrestling friends took a day trip up to the New England Pro Wrestling, the New England Pro Wrestling Academy, where Chaotic Wrestling, their whole school.
Yeah.
And we did like a little day session with them, and it was fun. And one of the notable names leading the class was one of the Viking Raiders. He was Warbeard Hansen then.
Wow.
Or Hansen back then, yeah. But yeah, now Ivar from the Viking Raiders, like,
Yeah.
ran the class. So that was a fun little thing.
So now you come back to New York and you're looking for a school, and you stumble on a pretty badass place.
A place you are very familiar with.
Well, I'm familiar with it because of the people who came from it.
Through other people that came out of there. Yes. I trained at the World of Unpredictable Wrestling, ran by Hall of Famer Johnny Rodz.
Yes. Now, I have my people who I've known who came out of that school through Bad Billy Walker, Masha Slamovich, Prince Ahmed. Bruce Leroy, I believe, is another one that's on the scene now that came out of there.
Bruce Leroy?
Yeah,
Brando Lee?
Brando, sorry, yeah. I always say Bruce Leroy because it was a UFC fighter. Brando Lee came out of there. I always get those two confused because it's the Bruce Lee thing. Anyway, if I'm not mistaken, the Faceless ones came out of there. Yeah. There's a ton of people have come out of that school, and what the best
and
part about that
I'll tell you this: I started before all of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So walk us through signing up.
Literally every list you named there, except for Billy Walker, because he was basically he helped me a lot. But basically every active wrestler on the indies you see now that you just listed, that are from there, I started before them.
That's awesome. Now some old school names,
but I'm not better than them.
Yeah, I believe both the Dudley boys came out of that school.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Of course.
Who else from ECW came out of there?
Matt Striker, who I've met a bunch of times. I love Matt Striker. He's really fun, interesting guy. Dreamer, who we saw over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Taz.
Mm-hmm.
Bill DeMott.
Just pretty much guys who just have that grit. And yes, big cast as well.
Probably the more recent big name to come out of Rods.
Yeah. Now that school just develops grit. It develops toughness. It develops just things that in the business, when you see people come out of their character wise, you're like, oh, they're humble, they're respectful to the business, but they can handle themselves if need be. If
Yes.
things were to go south in a ring, they know how to get themselves out of it.
Yes, I like to think so. Yes.
Yes. How now? Explain to us this, like going into that school and just training under those environments and being like, they're old school, man. They're gonna stretch you out. They're gonna teach you some pressure points. They're gonna teach you some locks.
I'll tell you, freaking mostly Cowboy Billy Walker has been the one who stretched me more than anybody while I was there. And he's tried to make me be a monster, but he's made me like but I think through all that I've excelled in just selling and all that stuff, because you gotta know how it feels if you're gonna sell it, he would say.
Mm-hmm.
So he would do it to us for real. His whole thing was, I don't want to hurt you, I'm just gonna fuck you up a little.
Yeah.
That was
absolutely.
And then stretch you out a bit, and then real mean son of a bitch in the ring, but outside of it, he loves you. Like
absolutely. He's someone I look forward to seeing all the time. Yep. He'll give you a giant hug. He'll tell you he's not going to sugarcoat anything. He's going to tell you 100%, if you're doing well, if you're not doing well, what you need to do to get better. Yeah. I love that guy to death. But what was training in that school like?
It was a lot of basics. You really, really nail your basics down. If anything, like your rolls and bumps, you practice it till no end almost every day, every time you're there. So you don't really get a whole lot of time to develop a character, or you seldomly get to really focus on like big old moves. You just really work on your basics, and they kind of drill it right into you.
Yeah. Now, how long were you under that roof and working under there?
I stayed there for 5 years, and then 2019 around February, I left and came out here.
And that's when you started, taking some bookings and starting your process here. Awesome. Yes. That's it was cool to see at the sanctuary that you guys all kind of had that reunion where you had all that, like you kind of all were all in the ring together and took that photo. It was it was neat to see. I remember just looking at them like, one of these things look like they don't belong, and it was definitely you.
I guess you could say I'm different than most of them. I guess I'm not a tough guy in the ring, but I know what I'm doing. So
absolutely, yeah. Now, a big breakout for you in your career was Camp Leapfrog.
Yes, I like to think that's started my whole career pretty much. Got it on the trajectory it's on now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would absolutely agree with myself in that boat as well. Coming into Camp Leapfrog, I came in. My first show I was involved in was Frog Sport, and it was a 2-for-1 weekend show where Frog Sport was one day and then heavyweights was the next day.
Oh yeah, you witnessed me and Big Vin.
Yes. We will definitely talk about that. But Leapfrog was a situation, man, where I felt like it helped talent in the ring. It helped talent develop character. It helped talent understand a storyline and how to push a storyline. The brotherhood and family. Like, I know that's a term that's thrown out way too much in the wrestling business, but man, it wasn't really camp, but it felt like camp. Like, I felt like if we all had tents and we legit stayed there, it was beautiful. Like it
was a gorgeous property to be on, for one. I love the campground so much, and I hope we can go back and do some stuff there more.
Yeah.
But
the bond that was just made between everybody was something that was really special.
I met some of the best people at Leapfrog.
Yeah. So let's I want to go back to Leapfrog and how you kind of broke into there and developed this character, but we talked about a little bit about the Big Vinny match. So if you don't know Big F and Vinny, the son of 911, that Big Vinny gets a lot of work on GCW. I believe he's done some stuff with Grimm's Toy Show. He's been around for a very, very long time.
All around the New Jersey area, yeah.
Yeah, and he is a presence, but also one of those guys who looks like He's terrifying, and he is everything that he looks like.
But he's an angel.
But he's a giant teddy bear angel. I love him to death.
Yes.
So, how did this match come about? To walk us through the setup, because Vin has a bit of a sense of humor during this as well.
Yeah. The whole setup is I think someone stole my lunch. So so I called him out to come to the ring. It turned out it was him, and then I wound up, and he's such a prolific hardcore wrestler, so I wound up digging myself into my first real hardcore match.
Yes. Now,
and boy, did it show, but it was still entertaining and fun nonetheless.
Yes, it absolutely was. But the funny thing about this, we'll pull the curtain back a little bit, because I actually had a conversation with him at GCW about it, and he said it was funny because you guys were like in a group or a text thing, and you kept like texting him, and he just purposely kept no-selling your text, he said. So like he said like you kept like, oh, and he just like gave you really vague, like, yeah, do this, do that, and then like would kind of leave you unread. And I just remember the whole day he just kept death staring you. Like there's not even cameras on.
It was intimidating, honestly.
Yeah. And he just kept, I remember you came over to me and you're like, is Vince still staring at me? I go, yeah, he's not. He's staring right at you. And you're like, what is going on right now? And you're like, oh, like,
something.
You really didn't have that conversation with him. It was kind of just done in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was gonna be fun and all that, and I know I've never done like the hardcore stuff, so obviously you're coming in a bit nervous. That was the first ever power bomb bump I've ever really taken, and it was happened to be through my first ever chair bump.
Yeah.
So through two chairs, and it was perfectly fine.
Yeah, you guys took care of each other. It looked amazing. It told the story it needed to tell. That's when you introduced the thumbtack ab roller.
Oh, it didn't have the thumbtacks on it yet, but eventually when I wound up, no, it didn't. It was just a regular ab roller. Whenever I end up in another death match, whatever situation, there's definitely going to be some thumbtacks on it.
Yeah, it was really fun. But let's rewind a little bit here with the Camp Leapfrog. So you come into Camp Leapfrog as the lovable Abs. At the time when you first came in, you had longer hair. You were rocking some locks on you, and you almost became you and Abby Jame almost became like the mascots and the heart and soul of Camp Leapfrog. Like when people thought of Camp Leapfrog, it was attached to Abs and Abby. That you guys were the lifeblood of the company. Like, sure, like Killian had their show, that big, like everyone had their moments to shine, but the essence of Camp Leapfrog, I felt, really came through you and Abby.
I 100% agree with that. I like to. People can say whatever they want. I truly believe I was the real like heart and soul of Leapfrog, because I was started through Leapfrog. Everything I have is because of Leapfrog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Leapfrog shutting down affected me drastically. It felt like I had to go right back to square one with all my stuff.
Yeah.
And I love everyone there, but they all had established names already. So they were fine once Leapfrog went away and Leapfrog coming back. So they were fine. They all had established names. People knew who they were. They had their own thing going. I had to sort of really start from scratch again. Yeah. Because Leapfrog was my launching pad.
Yeah. Now you had the part, you're known for the participation trophy at Leapfrog, where it was essentially
still have it.
The losing trophy. If you lost, you kept it. But
wait, what?
If you lose the match, you keep the participation trophy.
Wait, what?
That's how it worked, right?
I don't know. I've been knocked out all the time. Every time it's been announced that way. So
yeah. So unfortunately, that's how it went down.
I'm wondering why I keep getting it handed back to me afterwards.
Yeah. Leapfrog also had the what was it, the fanny pack, like the 24/7 fanny pack.
Oh yeah, it was funny. It was a funny situation.
So Camp Leapfrog unfortunately did come to an end. But keep an eye on Camp Leapfrog social media as well as High Tension. There might be some cool things in the future.
High Tension is slowly but surely in increments reviving it.
Yes, which is, thank God. there is something coming up very soon in a couple weeks with High Tension. They're bringing back the Christmas Trio show, which was
Yes.
almost like a Camp Leapfrog style show.
Camp Leapfrog's baby, and Leapfrog is forming a team going against those. We're going to make sure that dastardly evil Ethan Wilde doesn't succeed because he has all the properties for Leapfrog. So he's basically holding Leapfrog hostage.
Yeah. So storyline wise, if Team Leapfrog beats Ethan Wilde, there could be a resurgence of Camp again. Essentially, is what we're
yes,
looking
and
to
this
do.
is Camp Leapfrog's tournament. So,
so that's going to be coming out, I believe, on December 20th. I believe
20th and 22nd. It's like
okay.
something like that. Yeah.
So definitely tune into that on YouTube. I believe it's going to be on. I don't think it's going to be on IWTV this time.
I feel like I don't know. It might be on IWTV, but I think it's probably it's also going on YouTube. But I definitely know it's going on YouTube. It might go on IWTV later. Who knows? But
so make sure you head over to the High Tension Wrestling YouTube channel. It is linked below. If you go down to the promotions I work for on this channel, you can go follow that and see the. Hopefully, you guys pull it off. I want the rebirth of Camp Leapfrog.
And if you tune into High Tension Halloween, you get a little sneak preview of Team Leapfrog. It's me and Tyrant, and that's a big boy team.
Yeah, that's a hoss right there.
The hoss team, baby.
So what was the process like for you after Leapfrog ended? And then kind of like the pandemic kind of coming back to a little bit of a normalcy and rebranding, like not really rebranding because you kind of stayed true to your character, but kind of finding your steps again.
Well, my stuff in my personal life started like taking more priority, honestly. But like I was still like reaching out to places, going to shows, getting my face and name out there a little more. Luckily, some people knew who I was. Like when I come out there, really taught me the real range of what Leapfrog was. People knew who I didn't expect knew who I was. But it basically, it's basically just me starting over and going around, helping out at shows, showing my face, and it's paid off sometimes. But I also had some stuff going on in my regular life too, so a lot of things had to be balanced.
Now, kind of pulling back the curtain a little bit for people who are watching, if they've never seen the character ABBS, essentially you are a man with very sculpted body and abs.
Yes,
and
I am a fat guy with abs.
Yes. And the abs are just indestructible. They are like Samoans' heads and ring aprons. They are the hardest things in professional wrestling.
Yes.
People damage themselves hitting you in the abs. And
a few known broken wrists and knuckles.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Ankles.
Now, the fun thing about your character that I personally love is, especially when I go to a promotion and I'm there for the first time, and maybe it's like you're somewhere where you're also there for the first time, or you're still trying to get your foot in the door, and people walk in and they immediately see your character and they're just like, what? Like, what is happening? Like, because even you yourself, you're a goofball, you know what I mean? Like you don't take yourself seriously. You're very humble. You're very quiet. You know what I mean? Like, you're not like, look at me. Then you come in as your character and you do what you have to do. And I think every time I've watched you work and people didn't understand the character, the first 3 minutes of the match, they hate it. Immediately people Jim Cornette you. They're like, this is stupid. What are we watching? And then you win them over every single time. You find a way to do it.
I've found something. I've discovered that. Like I have a very visual gimmick. So the minute I come out of the curtain, people will react to it.
Yeah. Immediately, people just want to immediately hate it. And I love watching the crowd and people react to you while you're wrestling. Because like I said, people immediately just want to tear it down. It's crazy because people love and attach themselves to over-the-top, wacky, zany characters in professional wrestling. But we're also at a point now where people listen to the Jim Cornettes and I'm sorry, Johnny Rods, but the Bubbas of the world sometimes, where they kind of tear down characters and say, this is what ruins the business, is these style of characters. But then once the fans attach themselves to those characters, they fall in love. You know what I mean? Like, the characters are the ones who like sure, like they'll never be put world champions, but they're still really essential to what wrestling needs.
Yeah, exactly. I even got like praised once another leapfrog match, another well-known leapfrog match of mine, the one with Blank. 911, Vinny's dad actually said my timing was really good in that match. So it was always good to hear like an old timer, a real vet, like praise you for something that praise you for that. So I always like to prove. I don't know if I'm proving people wrong. I'm just going out there and being me, honestly. And I generally have been lucky to have more than anything positive reactions, and people do say they genuinely do like me. I haven't had many detractors or people who laugh at it and don't get it, but I'm sure they're out there, honestly. But I've been very fortunate that I've gotten an overall positive reaction.
That's a guy that's criminal in a ring too. Blank. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, Blank is great.
Yeah, he might have been drafted in my independent wrestling draft, but he wasn't drafted as Blank.
I saw you. You almost wanted to draft me, but
I did. I wanted to draft ABBS, but terrible. Okay. The joke was the terrible 40. You draft
a lot of good names and a lot more deserving names.
But so over the weekend was the Contest of Champions, and what amazing event! Over 175 different talents from all over the world. It just wasn't New York, Jersey, and PA. I think people flew in from Cali. There was people from there from Vegas,
There's
Midwest.
People from Florida. There's people from Florida and AR Fox's school and down in Atlanta.
Yeah, it was crazy who all showed up for this event. And during this, so that you got to do
this is the Super Camp tryout. Yeah,
the Super Camp tryout. So they broke half the room up and they all went into the hallway and did promos for Shane Donovan, and then the other half did Sean Donovan, and then the other half of the room did in-ring work with Anthony Green. Around the ring was filled with talent. I don't think that they should have probably said that the other half of the people you can go and check out, because I think they should have been able to split up the people who were at the camp, because I don't think a lot of people watched the first group's promo stuff. By the time they realized there was promos going on, nobody in it, but I think they videotaped them all, and I think they're going to send them all.
They're all filmed, so people are going to see later on.
Good, because I actually was bouncing back and forth. I was like going between the promo room and the in-ring work, because I didn't really have anything else to do at that point in time, so I was just in awe watching everybody work, and really,
it was a big space. You could just roam around.
I want more of that in the area. I think more talent. I think more promotions who have big venues, AXW, should look to do this. I think it was such a beautifully well done thing, and it gave talent really good time to like communicate with each other, bond, network with each other, not even just like working in front of other promotions. It was just good to see the talent like really just bond with each other. It was really, really cool. But you got to team up with Tarzan Duran, which is another guy I'm a very big fan of. I love his work.
We worked one-on-one. Yeah, it was fun.
And you guys were given what, 6 minutes or something, or 5 minutes? 5-minute match.
Everyone was really given 5.
Yeah. So you guys have a 5-minute match, and at this point in time, you're at the point where it's just getting hot, where everybody in round is still like participating and cheering on the matches, because it went long and sometimes it drug out and people did lose interest.
They had literally over 100 talent in there.
Yeah. So as you guys are working in the ring, former WWE name Damian Sandow walks in the building, and you guys start working. And I look over at him, and I'm watching your match, and he immediately hates it. I don't care what he tells anybody. We were watching him. He literally mouthed, "What the fuck is this?" That's exactly what he said. And he was trying so hard to hate it. And for about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, just like I said before, he was trying everything in his power to not enjoy the match. But the boys were behind you guys. The boys were cheering on. The boys were buying into what you were selling as a character. Tarzan kicking in the belly. He's shaking his foot off. You guys you took crazy bumps and cutters from Tarzan off the ropes. So Tarzan got to showcase his abilities to use the ropes. You got to showcase your ability of your character and doing your ab claw and all this great stuff.
That was a one, yeah.
Yeah, and by the end of the match, he was sold. He liked what he saw. Like, I literally watched a guy in 5 minutes go from absolutely hating your both of your characters to absolutely loving everything he saw in the ring at that
Then
point.
pulled us aside and talked to us and gave us
For almost 35 minutes.
Yeah, gave us some
Like,
really solid advice.
yo, it was myself, Hawthorne, and a few other people, and we watched the whole thing happen. And then after it went, I'm like, look he's talking to him over there. And we just were like, so all of us were just all rooting for you guys and just so happy that you guys had that moment of winning over someone who has accomplished something in this business and who has hit a point where he knows what he's talking about. And the fact that like he genuinely didn't like it, then fell in love with it and fell in love with it enough that he pulled you guys aside to have that conversation. Are you comfortable sharing any of the conversation that was had?
It just basically praised how different we were from everyone else, because this is of course no knock on anyone else. Everyone left it all in the ring, tried really hard, and I think everyone did great.
Mm-hmm.
But he said for us, we did something different. He said with me as the baby face, I was not trying to be Rey Mysterio, if you get what I'm saying. I was and I thought it was a perfect mixture, me and Tarzan, because I'm the character guy, he's the work rate guy. He got to show off his work rate. I got to show I can hang with the work rate and all that, take his moves well and all that. And because Tarzan, he has a great character, great gimmick, great worker. He gets over with moves also. I think Sandow even told him this too. How Tarzan gets over is with moves.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also a fantastic character visually. And that it was the beginning part was where I got to shine, basically, because that's where I got the crowd behind me. I got the crowd work and all that stuff. Got him to interact, no selling the stomach. And then throughout the rest of the match, he got to showcase his thing, which was the fun moves, and I proved I could take them.
Yeah.
But that's
that one DDT vehicle, you sold that beautifully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he basically that's basically what he was telling us, and he was giving us this overall advice about what to do in between moves and all that stuff. That's what gets everything going. He was just overall a few nitpicks, yes, but overall very complimentary of our whole thing.
Yeah, man, it was so cool to see him pull you guys aside and talk for as long as he did. Man, we were all rooting for you guys. Like, that was the cool thing too, man, is like everyone checked, at least I know the people that I know personally, like the PA people, the Jersey people, everyone put their ego aside, man, and they were generally happy and rooting each other on and supporting each other. And like, if one person that they knew that were in there were working, they were cheering them on, they were giving them the energy they needed. It was such a cool day, man.
That's what I like to do at any wrestling show I'm not booked on, or anytime I'm done with a match. I'll go in the crowd and I'll heckle a little, I'll cheer, I'll boo. You know, mm-hmm. I'll really try to interact and get the other crowd members going. Try to take I'll lead a chant. I'll try to start a clap. Yep. Anything. I just like to really get involved. I guess I'm still a fan because I still mark out for a lot of stuff when
me too.
I just like watching at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, if I'm not on commentary and I'm just there to support, I'll be in the crowds being a psychopath. It's a lot of fun. So this year's winding down. I feel like 2021, 2022. I feel like wrestling bounced back. There's a lot of opportunities for more growth, especially in the independent scene. But I feel like hitting into this 2023 here is going to be big opportunities for a lot of people to really get in their perspective what they need to do and realize that the traveling has to be there. They're realizing that you can't wrestle within 15 minutes of your hometown isn't a thing anymore, where you have to branch yourself out. What are your plans for this new year?
Oh, to definitely branch out a lot more, reach out to a lot more promotions, both locally and further away. And all that stuff. I really am looking at eyeballing the New England scene a lot more, and I like going to New England, so that's a place I definitely am trying to make my name in a little more. Some people
I would love to go to a Beyond show. I've been watching them. I've been watching those shows forever.
I've been going to wrestling. I went to a Wrestling Open actually on the Thursday before this, and I did a tryout match there. But definitely gonna keep going with that. Wrestling Open is definitely a place I see myself going. Limitless, all that stuff. Blitzkrieg is a place I've done the smaller shows for, but I'm yet to really get on the big shows. That's a place I definitely would love to prove myself at. The PA area is definitely also
gotta come to those First Friday shows at the Sanctuary, man. We love having you.
I mean, I'm with the occasional New York shows, I guess, but like wrestling in New York City, except for a few places, is kind of but like, and the athletic commission is nuts. But
what's the new school that Mosh is involved in?
That who?
That Mosh is working with now.
Oh, it's that's Battle Club School, Fallout Shelter.
Yeah, they look like they're putting on some fun stuff. Those outdoor shows.
Yeah, them T2T have their thing going.
It's like two schools combined to one doing shows, right?
I think they shared a building very briefly when one of them lost a building, but now they're back to being separate. But they're two pretty top-notch schools in the New York City area, outside of Hog, obviously.
Yeah, that's another one I need to get to.
You work with a lot of the Hog guys.
I love Hog. Oh, I love Hog. Love.
I love all the Hog guys too. They're all really such good people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never met someone that came out of that school that I didn't fall in love with immediately as a person.
They're all uber talented and probably have every right to like be big shots and all that, but no, they're all still very humble, cool people.
Scott in the chat, he's from Australia. He said you should definitely come across and go to Australia.
Oh yes, international work is definitely on my list. Australia is definitely on there. I just got to afford to travel, so
yeah, it is.
Anyone in Australia need a guy with very real abs.
That's your guy. Scott always tells me the prices that do everything in Australia, and it is ridiculous. It's just so expensive. But yeah. Now, are you always looking to do the singles thing? Are you looking to tag team up with anybody? Like, do you have any of those plans in mind?
I'm down for to tag with anybody. There's a few guys I could be compatible with, but I'm mostly trying to focus on the single stuff. But if I'm throwing a tag team, I'll obviously make it work. It worked with that. It worked very briefly with me and Abby. She's out doing her thing with Pancakes, and she's crushing it, might I say. I'm very proud of her. She's
getting some AEW Dark shows.
Dark Impact, all that stuff.
Yep. She had her match for Avery's last match was so good. It was Avery is he lives everything up to his name. He's a very
I really wish I got to work with him a little more.
Yeah.
I wish for sure I could have gotten in the ring with him as an opponent. Other than that, I loved coming up. I loved Dasher Hatfield. So just the fact I got the team with him was a magical mark out moment for me.
Yeah, and you got beat up by him a little bit.
Yeah, huh? I got berated by him. I got berated by Sydney Bacabella multiple times. So,
who are some names, obviously, that are on your bucket list that you would really love to work with?
I have a lot. Top of the list is like the gimmick guys. Top of my list, obviously, if there's ever a way to do it, Orange Cassidy. If there's ever a way to do it, I want to really, really work with him. Fun fact: I worked with him at XSW, Extremely Serious Wrestling, which is all just gaga funny mixed, like improv mixed with wrestling in the city. But they broadcasted shows on IWTV. So Orange Cassidy came when he was the IWTV champion, and I was with a guy called Sean from Michaels. Sean, and he works at Michaels, the arts and crafts store.
Yeah.
And I was his bodyguard. I was his heavy, and so that means I got to work with Orange Cassidy a little bit. It was a Rumble spot I did with Orange Cassidy where I tried to claw his stomach. He pulled his hands out of his pockets, smacked my hands away. I just kept doing it, smacked my hands away, and then try to go double. He blocks it, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So I got to work with him in that respect, but like in an actual ring with just me and him, that's the definitely top of my list guy. Kikutaro is someone I also really want to work with. You know who that is, right? The Japanese wrestler with the pig mat, the baseball uniform.
Yeah.
That's a guy I really want to. And
that'd be a fun one.
someone I saw at Contest of Champions, Shockwave the Robot.
Shockwave the Robot versus ABBS. That would be unbelievable. Yeah.
I've got to fulfill. Strangely enough, Stan Styles was on my list, and I've got to work with him twice, and it was great. And now I'm in the Creamy World Order. So
I love it. In the chat, Ryan Vox. There you go, Commissioner of AXW in the chat. What's up, bud? We were just talking about Contest of Champions, and that was a fun experience. While you're in the chat, man, who are some names that stood out to you at Contest of Champions? We're curious. We were just talking about that a little bit.
Get back to us with that.
Yeah. Any other names on the independent scene that maybe you've seen work and you haven't had a chance to go one-on-one with?
I'd love to work Abby one-on-one, honestly. That's someone. I'm going to not stop to the ends of the earth till I get my one-on-one with Big Dust.
I was gonna say you've always been petitioning for that Killian match too.
Killian, I wanted to wrestle all the goons one at a time until we build to Dust.
Yeah,
Dust is the final one because everyone knows he's really the head goon.
Yeah,
Killian's the bigger name, but we all know Dust is the head goon.
Have you ever worked Tommy Vex yet?
Oh God, I did in a Rumble once. We had a fun little exchange, but never one-on-one. That's definitely something.
You and Tommy would be really funny. You and Miles would be fun. Yeah, man, there's a lot of fun matches for you. Like, because the thing is too is like I definitely want to get this out to people too who are listening. Is like, you do, obviously you have your character spots and you hit your marks of your character spots, but in the same vein as Orange Cassidy, like, you can buckle down and put a match on once you get your Gaga out of the way. You know what I mean? Like, you know what you're doing in there, and like, you can make it serious. Like, I've seen you put on performances where with you and Abby where you're doing your stuff.
Or really come from behind. One match I'm really proud of actually with me and Abby was the tag team tournament thing. The match we had with the Goons, but they were led by Darius Carter this time.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I got to work with Darius Carter for one, that's another guy I would love to go.
He's amazing.
You get I think with me and him, you get a perfect babyface heel, good versus evil story.
Yeah, very, very cool stuff.
Anything else will bring something out of you.
Yeah. Anything else in the future that you're really looking to do?
Obviously more bigger companies, like go to get myself a time on AEW or something, get a dark match, an AEW dark. And maybe hopefully further. I don't want to say just dark, maybe further.
Mm-hmm. There was a few tag teams that looked great. Tons of guys did well. I'm very intrigued by the Frozen fella.
Which
one was the Frozen fella? I'm not. Oh, what's his name? Oh my God. Yeah, Yusuf. Yusuf, the caveman. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he stood out also too.
I'm a big fan of him. I think he's very entertaining. And he wants to do stuff where he wants to kind of do a comedy stuff at some point where he wants to do the full Encino Man where he gets trained by somebody to learn how to become a human again. Like, he wants someone to be his counterbalance of complete comedy while he's the serious guy. Just putting it out there, where he teaches them the real society of the world and stuff like that.
Let's tease that a bit.
Yeah, that's something he wants to do. I know Tyrant seen him, and Tyrant was very oh boy, you would fit with us pretty well. I
actually would love to see a trio with Tyrant and him.
Yeah, the Ice Cream Man. Yeah, he was pretty good. He did all right. He was. I'm so down for the Encino gimmick. I've done it. LOL. Yeah, tons of cool stuff.
I'll give you who stood out to me, Brute Van Scythe.
Yeah,
big man, big guy.
Yeah, I liked a lot of people. I thought I mean, I've seen him before, but Joey Conway stood out very heavily to me. I think he's someone that I think more people should be looking at, especially if they need a really good heel.
Of course, my buddy El Trabajador, the
Working Man. The Working Man's great.
I love that guy. I've partnered with him. I faced him in Fatal 4-Ways. I love that guy. He pops me every time he gets in the ring.
Yeah, he was good. Who was the Australian guy? The guy with the Australian accent?
Oh, Oh, I think I saw him at Beyond also. Backman Lex, whatever his
Yeah,
name.
he was pretty fun. He had a good promo. And I really enjoyed the telemarketer guy, the guy with the call center guy. He stood out to me as well.
Or Mr. Clean guy.
Mr. Clean's fun. I worked with him before Pro Wrestling After Dark. But
Yeah.
so besides professional wrestling, what are some other things, Abs, that are your hobbies? Like that's your escape, your getaway. Like when you wanna take a break from wrestling and you need to clear your head.
I'm a movie man. I watch a lot of movies. I wanted to be a screenwriter at one point in my life. Maybe one day I still can. It's never too late for that type of stuff.
Never.
Watch a lot of movies, TV shows. I love sketch comedy. I love British comedy. I love anything, honestly. Art house film.
Has there been any movies lately you've watched that you were really impressed with?
I don't. But the thing is, though, ever since COVID, I haven't really been able to get to the movies as much as I'd like to. Also, because here in New York, they're disgustingly expensive.
I can imagine
To go to the theater. But
I just watched the Weird Al Yankovic movie. Have you seen?
the weird the
my
parody
God.
biopic.
It's so good. See, I didn't know it was a parody biopic. So I had no idea going in. I was like, oh, they're making a Weird Al movie.
Yeah, that's the funny part. Like casting Daniel Radcliffe, I think that's the whole as him is the funny part of it.
Yeah, and I just started watching it. And I was like, he's completely lying in his own movie. This is amazing. Like I was pissing myself laughing watching that movie.
The whole thing with that is like he basically had the most normal upbringing ever, but in biopics you have to sort of be like, oh, drugs, like rough family life.
His dad almost kills
when Weird Al's like the most straight laced. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he becomes a huge drug alcoholic induced character. Oh, he's married to Madonna. It's
in typical biopic, they have the guy they're making the movie about appear in the movie, and I know Weird Al played like a label exec, right? A label, head of a label.
Oh, it was so good. I watched that one recently. There's something else I just watched too that I thought was pretty entertaining.
I think the last really good movie I saw that Smile movie when in theaters. Okay. That was oh man, that was intense.
I just watched Nope.
Oh yeah, I heard that was good.
It was fun. It was interesting.
I feel like for me to get up and go to the movies, it has to really, really catch my attention. Like,
yeah, I'm waiting.
I really want to go and see.
Right now there's one movie out there right now for me that I want to go. I want to go see Black Panther.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
I think
I just ordered for my birthday.
Yeah,
Clerks 3.
Oh, I love Clerks 3. You'll love it.
I haven't seen it yet.
Boy, you're in for something.
I cannot wait. I'm a huge Kevin Smith guy.
Me too. I love Kevin.
He owns his own theater and he bought a movie theater.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go to it. They said he's been doing crazy stuff. Like he had like 3 movies playing in one day, and you buy a $10 ticket for all 3, and like he's there just hanging out.
Me and my friend who I got into Kevin Smith. We went down there, went to the Secret Stash, the comic book shop. I think we saw a show he did we went to see I think it was like a one-man, almost like a show Kevin Smith did where he just talked about stuff, like all that stuff. And then of course, like a bunch of marks, we took a photo in front of the Quick Stop, went in, bought some stuff from the Quick Stop. We had to buy some stuff from the Quick Stop. I think I bought like a Mountain Dew and a Yodel.
Yeah. I wasn't there a show? Was it Titan? Titan is really close to Red Bank, right?
Oh, Titan Championship Wrestling?
Yeah.
I guess so. I don't know.
Because I know Alex and all went down there for the show, and I was supposed to go and give Philly Mike a ride, but I got my car messed up. I couldn't make it.
Right.
And then Alex sent me a photo of him outside the Quick Stop, like, well, you are listening to the ABJ podcast. I assure you, we are open. And it was the Quick Stop behind him. And I was like, oh man, I wanted to be there so bad. But that is definitely on my list. I want to get out to Red Bank. But
hell yeah.
Yeah. Did you see they're making the Red State 2?
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Unfortunately, we can't get the what's his name back because he passed away.
Yeah.
I actually found that movie online. I bought a copy of it on eBay. Somebody had it on sale for $40 with a steel case.
Nice.
That's a hard one to find.
I have a whole box of DVDs.
Yeah, I have Dogma on Blu-ray, which is like $120 DVD Blu-ray because it's discontinued.
Right.
Dogma.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dogma. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Ricky in the chat saying, "What's up, ABJ? What's going on, brother?" But all right, well, we're getting close to the end here. If anyone in the chat has any questions, please get them in. We'll end with some of your questions. Is there anything that we didn't cover, Abs, that you would like to get out there?
I don't know. I feel like we covered every base. I'm living an uninteresting life right now, so.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on, man. I know I say this about a lot of the people that I'll probably have on the show recently, but there's a reason why a lot of you I reached out to and I want to have on. It's 'cause I truly care about you guys, and like I said, that I think we made a really good bond at Camp Leapfrog, and then seeing you for the first time in a long time at Smash Master.
That IWA show, that thing that we did. I listened to your commentary, watched the match, like me and Saber Dorado, your bunk mates.
Yeah. Every time that I do commentary with somebody who's from Camp Leapfrog, I always say that we were bunk mates.
Yeah, I trust you with that. Like the Sanctuary match I did with Trajan.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was a great match.
That was a good match too.
Yeah, I love Trajan. We need to get him back into wrestling.
Trajan. Where's Trajan?
Yeah, he's taking a break from wrestling, but he shows up sometimes just to hang out, but he doesn't get in the ring.
I thought he full blown retired.
Yeah, he did. But we're trying our best to get him back. Ryan Vox says, "Abs, you're a great dude. I recommend you a lot to promoters on Saturday."
Oh, thanks, buddy. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
We need some Abs at AXW.
Yeah, there you go.
Could you imagine you and Matt Quay coming out with each other, muscles and mullets?
Actually, I also spoke to Ricardo Rodriguez too at the thing too, and I'm hopefully going to get into his promotion too.
Yeah,
he likes me a lot too.
And I didn't realize his new school was in Lancaster, so I put a thing out to maybe come down to the school and interview him about the school for the podcast soon. So that's a possible interview coming up with Ricardo for his new school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
PA scene is getting there, man. We're getting a lot of cool people and a lot of cool things happening. But once again, man, I really thank you for your time. I love you to death. It's always a blast to see you. You're one of the best huggers in the business. Every time I see you, I just wrap my arms around you.
Always give a good hug.
You are a fantastic hug, and more people should be aware of you. And and the best way to do that is check the links below. Follow Abs on Twitter. Follow Abs on Instagram. He does have his own YouTube channel where he puts some of his matches up there, so you can check it out. Go on IWTV and go through the back catalog of Camp Leapfrog and watch that stuff back, man. It was really special. It's quite campy. It's corny. It's Salute Your Shorts meets professional wrestling, and you're gonna see a lot of cool characters come out of there.
For sure. And also go check out Invictus on IWTV. Go back and look for the Hell's Kitchen match with me and Miles Millennium. That's another match I'm very proud of. So,
wasn't there? You guys went through Doritos or something?
No, it was pasta thumbtacks, pasta. Skewer spot. I shot a lemon. I squeezed a lemon in Big Dust's eyes. Really wonderful stuff.
That's Invictus.
It was for Invictus, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go check that out. But yeah, tons of great content on IWTV. Make sure you go support and follow this guy. He also does have a pro wrestling tee site where you can go buy some t-shirts. I believe is in his link tree as well.
I mostly use Brainbuster tees. Go check out my Brainbuster tees.
Brainbuster tees, the abs.
Fun
There's
stuff.
There's 2 ab shirts, right? There's 2 different styles.
Shirts. There's like my only ab shirts. There's a shirt I wear a crop top in the ring. And there's a whole bunch of other newer designs out there. And it's shirts, hoodies, even face masks and fanny packs and stickers and all that fun stuff. I will get bulk orders, so I will eventually start selling them at shows.
Awesome. Another big guy to look out for this year, 2023, coming up is going to be Abs. Hopefully there's more people that I work for. Keep booking him so I can see him at shows, because I absolutely love seeing him. He's a bright spot of my day every time I see him. But that's going to do it for the ABJ podcast. Episode 7 in the books with Abs. Like I said, if we made it this far, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Follow us on your favorite podcast apps. We did break the 100 plays over there. We're closing in on 200 plays. So thank you all so much for the support. If you want to support the Patreon, I do have that link as well as merchandise of my own. So all that helps the channel grow. And we'll be seeing you next time on the ABJ Podcast. We're out of here. Love it.